Jesus Christ, what did I watch? Why did I watch this? Okay, so I just watched Grotesque, a Japanese film that came out in 2009, and damn, the Japanese go hard. They are ruthless. I can't ever see America make a movie like this. Well, especially nowadays. So just a quick thing, if you have a weak stomach or can't handle disturbing things, this movie is not for you. They do some things in this movie that is pretty messed up. It is not for everyone. But for everyone else that still has their dinglings, buckle up because you may have a second thought about walking alone again. This movie starts off with a young couple in their prime and a mysterious doctor kidnaps them and puts them in a series of torture games to see how far they're willing to go to survive. Besides this being a torture movie, there's an actual story to it, but it's the torturing that's out in your face that masks the deeper meaning to it. This could have just been a simple torture movie with nothing to it, and that was its gimmick. But I like to think the Japanese are a lot smarter and put a lot more thought in their artwork. The theme of this movie that they kept asking, especially the doctor kept asking the guy, was, will you die for her? Basically saying, how far are you willing to go in the most horrific thing with the most serious consequences in your life for love? And these poor people were pushed to their limits. Makes you question, if it was just one person being tortured, maybe they would have given up. But because there was a significant other, a person would endure so much more. Selfishness versus selflessness. And that question kept coming up. Not just for the audience, but the doctor could have been playing a psychological game to motivate them to keep on going for his own amusement. I don't know what the budget for this movie was, but it had to be pretty small considering 80% of this film was shot in one location. But the set they were in looked horrifying. Very specifically designed, so good on the set designers. And I could tell a lot of money was put into the torturing scenes because it looked real. The way the blades cut through skin and how blood moved, a lot of well thought out and well timed practical effects were used. That takes real professionals to do. Besides the director and the camera and the audio and the lighting being set, there are other factors, but one little mess up, like an actor missing their cue, will reset the entire scene. Then the cleanup crew will have to come and clean up a huge mess, and then you need a bunch of people to make sure that the scene has to fit continuity with the previous scene, and that takes hours and thousands of dollars. But man, that looked real. CGI has no legs in this. You can't fake all the time. The lighting was set to a yellowish green hue to give you that eerie feeling, and the cinematography wasn't the best, but you didn't need no Stanley Kubrick style shots. But certain scenes, like something delusional or out of the norm, the angle of the camera will be tilted to give off that impression. And there's a lot of shaky cam, which is a good technique to use to help hide some bad effects, but shaky cam can also exaggerate pain. For example, if a limb is being sawed off, there will be a lot of shaky scenes, as if you're the one being tortured. And let's be honest, if you're getting your arm cut off, you probably won't be staying still. A lot of close-up shots and faces to see the pain in the eyes, so for what they had to work with, they did a fantastic job. And this movie would have failed if the actor sucked. One of the hardest things for an actor to do is to do what these actors did. It takes a serious amount of skill to show that level of pain and make it believable. Hey, in this scene, we're gonna get a machine to clamp onto your nipples and twist them until they rip off. Yeah, I'd like to see you try to pull that off. If it was me in that scene, I would have just used the Adam Levine technique and get kicked in the nuts 5 times in a row before going out on stage. I really would like to know what the mental state of those actors were after filming. Usually stuff like that, people can get really messed up. But phenomenal performances all around, especially the doctor. I feel like I've seen this guy before, but his portrayal, the look in his eyes showed that he had no soul, or he was just broken from past traumas. He gave layers to this villain instead of being a one-note person. The worst part of this movie that sucked me right out of it was its ending. I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but it was very Japanese. The climax was, yeah, you know what I'm talking about once you see it. It took me right out. And maybe some would like it, but it's the tone that kept throughout the entirety of the movie, and then that happened. But the final scene of the movie was great. It kept it real, which is also a Japanese style ending, keeping it real. This movie made me question a lot of things. It was hard looking at some of those scenes. It was disturbing, teeth grinding, and made me question humanity and my life. I have it so good compared to these people. And the harsh reality that there's actually human beings out there going through this exact torture for the amusement of sick pieces of shit. So the next time you go to Starbucks and the minimum wage worker ruins your venti caramel frappuccino, just remember, people have it worse. Alright, well, I'm done with this one. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and until my next one, ta-ta for now.